says we're live on my thing.
Well, how about that? Interesting. If you can see and hear me,
I
go ahead and say howdy. Hey, navigating the VA disability claim and appeals process can be frustrating. To say the least, it can be frustrating, it can be time consuming, it can be arduous, it can be onerous, it can be all sorts of things, except convenient and quick. It's a big machine. Not hating on anyone or anything. It's a big machine. There's a lot of moving parts here, but uh, there's always constant changes to the landscape too. Not just with pay rates, but with there's law changes that impact how the VA does what it does and supports people and processes claims. And I mean, even recently, crazy things have been happening, and there's just so much information out there. There's incorrect information, there is conflicting information, there's predatory information, and there's good information. So, information is important, but it's important to know where your information is coming from. I'm just checking right now to make sure that we are actually live on LinkedIn. And I think we are. Hot dog. This is my first stream using Riverside. So, we'll see if it's working. I think everything's working just fine. Good information is good. Bad information is bad. It's important to talk to professionals. And before I introduce the professional that we're going to be speaking to, who's a person that I trust, that you should trust, who's been doing this for a really, really long time, I should add that if you have any doubts as to whether or not you need to be filing a VA disability claim, or if you deserve or earned those benefits, you did. It was part of the deal. It would be equivalent to if you got in a car accident and your car was all messed up and it wasn't your fault, and you said, I'm not gonna do this. I don't really need this. I don't need any handouts. And then you just didn't use insurance to pay for the repairs or whatever. It's part of the deal. When you sign on the dotted line, you put your life on the line. Potentially, when you sacrifice your time and your freedom in a lot of ways in service of your country, part of the deal is that they are going to reciprocate in X, Y, Z ways. And one of them is making sure that they take care of you and any injury or ailment or illness that befalls you while you are in service and afterwards enduringly. Anything that may happen as a result of that. It's part of the deal. So if you're like, I don't need handouts, I've talked to so many people that are like, oh, I'm a big tough guy, blah, blah. Like, you need to file your VA disability claim. Part of the deal. So, in case you had any doubts, stop it. Personal note, this is my first stream back in about a billion years, and I just discovered that my standing desk is just slowly sinking. So if you hear like a sound of some kind and then like a reconstituting, that is me bringing my desk back up to height. So I'm gonna have some elevation changes as time goes on. Today's gonna be a Q&A. So if you have access to the chat, I would love for you to hop into the chat on whatever platform. That's YouTube, that's LinkedIn, I think Facebook. I don't know. We'll see. And throw hey, we're here, we can hear you, or throw questions in there. We're going to do our best to get to them. But enough of me yapping. Happy to introduce my very good friend, Jim Brzezinski, who is the CEO, managing partner of Tabak Law. And they're a firm that specializes in, they're one of the best known for veteran claims and appeals and getting people back pay if they've been wrongly denied. The firm does a myriad of other things, but that's a huge part of what they do. And what's really important isn't necessarily the what they do, but the how they do. This is a firm that focuses first on, and this is why I trust Jim so much, our guest who I'm going to be talking to, because he focuses first on who he can help and how he can help them. He doesn't focus first on like, well, how much back pay are they going to get, and blah, blah. Like, he is first and foremost, genuinely and truly in his heart of hearts focused on helping people. And so that's why I love talking to Jim. Plus, he knows his stuff. This is a guy who used to work in processing claims and appeals for the Department of Veterans Affairs. And then he transitioned into being a lawyer. You're going to have to correct me on this. I think it's more than 15 years now he's been serving the veteran community and helping people get what is promised to them and what is owed to them. And oftentimes it means back pay and whatever. And so, oh, here I go. Elevation change again. At some point, I'm going to have to bottom this thing out and bring it back up. Enough of me yapping. I am really excited if I can, figure out how to bring him back. There we go. Jim Brzezinski, everybody. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Adam. Can you hear and see me?
I can hear and see you. Good stuff.
Nice.
It has been a while since we've done one of these streams together. I was trying to think of how long it was. I ended up digging back to the last time we did a live Q&A where we just kind of shot the breeze about the VA process. And I think we just had like a 45-minute conversation. It had to have been 3 years ago that we did this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I remember you had some great questions coming in, and happy to be doing it again. It was a really nice time. And I don't want to steal the show, but I loved your intro. There were a few things that stuck out to me.
Oh no, did I get anything wrong?
No. The thing about the insurance is like, nobody really thinks about the VA. Well, maybe some people do. I do. I think about the VA as insurance, right? Because it's a promise that if you get injured while doing your duty, then we'll take care of you. It's the same thing. Every employer in the United States has to carry workers' comp insurance, right? If you were working for me and you were injured doing the job that I've asked you to do, I'd say, hey, go talk to, who do I have? I think I have Liberty Mutual. And you'd go talk to them and they'd process your claim and you wouldn't feel bad about it. Would you? I mean, I wouldn't, because as your employer, I paid for that. And if you get hurt, now you have these benefits, and it's good for everyone. And and it's something that I think too many people overlook. It's similar with Social Security disability, right? You pay into it, it's an insurance policy. You can't work, you should be able to take out your insurance policy. You paid for it. The VA, you paid for it with your service versus your money, although maybe money
maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, right. I don't know that you were paid all that great for what you were doing, so maybe it's money too. But I really like that analogy, and I make that all the time, because you shouldn't look at it any differently. You've got the benefit in case you get hurt. It's been promised as an insurance, and it's something that no one should feel bad about taking.
Right.
And then the second thing that stuck out to me is that
I did steal that from you, that analogy. I think.
Oh, did you? All right. Well,
I think I borrowed that from you. I didn't originate that.
I was going to say, I talk about that a lot, because I really want to reiterate to people that this isn't a handout. This isn't something that, you're not begging on the street corner for something that, that you didn't earn or deserve. Like, this is something that every employee, like I said, in the entire United States, unless the employer is acting illegally,
right,
they have this option when they get hurt at work. And if you can show that the work you did caused the injury or the disability, it's a no-brainer. Like, it's just supposed to cover. It's supposed to cover your medical. It's supposed to cover any lost wages, any permanent disability. I mean, you look at the comparisons between the VA program and workers' comp, and they're strikingly similar. Like, maybe the same people who wrote VA legislation dealt with work comp at one point, because the concepts are the same. The amounts and how they pay you are different, but it covers it. Even both even have a retraining benefit if you can't, they have like voc rehab or whatever, and in Wisconsin at least, if you can't get back to your work, you can go to DVR. It's very, very similar. And I just when somebody thinks that they don't deserve it, or that they're begging or for a handout or whatever, it's just not the case. So
that's not what it is.
Not at all.
And I want to jump on something you said. You know, it's a no-brainer, and it should be a no-brainer. At least from the outside looking in so many of these situations. I have a buddy who was forcibly ejected out of a jet. He's got a Purple Heart, and I think he has no, like, his back is all messed up, and but like, good friend of mine, and his disability rating overall is like nothing.
Hmm.
And you look at a person like that, and what they've gone through as like an obvious, direct, no-brainer result of their service and what they've been through and what they've done and what they sacrificed, and to see them not being appropriately compensated in the way that was promised to them. Again, it was part of the deal. It seems like a no-brainer, but it isn't always, and
Yeah.
that's why people need help. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, yeah. And when I say a no-brainer, I mean it's a no-brainer to go and get your benefits. Like you shouldn't think twice about it. You know,
Yeah,
whether you go to the VA yourself, which I don't recommend because they can it's a tough system, and if you start off the claim poorly, it can really mess you up through all steps of the process. But there's people to help. There's VSOs who do a pretty decent job on getting new claims going. But more specifically, there's people like me, lawyers, who have dedicated our lives to learning the system and using that to make sure that the vets get everything that they're owed. And one thing also that you touched on earlier is how recently here at my law firm, we have decided not to take into account the value of a case when we decide if we're going to help people. What I mean by that is if a veteran comes in and asks for help, and let's say you never went to the VA before, typically most lawyers would say, okay, well, you're going to file a new claim. I can't get paid on a new claim right now because that's the law. You can only get paid if there's a previous decision and then you're appealing that decision. Um, so a lot of lawyers, including myself, we used to say, okay, well, go talk to a VSO, and if you end up getting denied, then come back and we can look at it. But we've decided, that we're not doing that anymore. We are going to help everyone that comes in, even if it's only new claims. And if we win the case on those new claims, there will be no fee. We'll just chalk it up to one for the good guys. Um, and the reason why is because uh, a lot of times even the VSOs are missing things. And you know, when someone comes to us and we didn't start the case, there's so much that could have been already done
right.
that almost never is. And it's better for everyone if we just do it from the beginning,
Yeah.
and with the thought in mind that, hey, we're gonna have somewhere the VA is gonna agree with us right away and just pay the guy or girl, uh,
Sure.
and and uh, and we'll never get paid. And um, and that's fine, and we're happy with that. We also, when we talk about our successes here at work, our team is trained to discuss wins, not fees won, not how much
Right.
money. Although when we get a vet a big back pay award, of course we're excited.
Right.
Like I think
Right.
I just got one. I looked. I signed this guy up in 2016,
Okay.
and we just finally won the final piece of the case, and his back pay was $240,000.
Whoa.
And and this was a fight. I mean, it was an interesting case. It was a PTSD case. The guy was had a post-service job in a very rough high school in the inner city, and his mental health was exacerbated by what he saw at this high
Sure.
school. Well, the VA was trying to say, well, your PTSD is actually related to breaking up fights, and
Yeah.
it didn't come from all those things you did prior to high school where
Not
you
from
saw.
combat or
Yeah,
anything.
right,
Come on.
exactly. But it was a long fight. It was a long fight, and we got him to admit that the PTSD was related to the service first. Then it was a TDIU case. Then they screwed up the effective date on the TDIU
Mm.
case. It was just a nightmare. But finally got it done, and it was a big win. It was a really life-changing amount of back pay, and we were excited. But like we count wins. We don't count if it was a win that we get paid on or not. Like I'm just, and I think if I saw like I think last year we were like 8,000 wins for the
Mm-hmm.
VA here.
Yeah, I saw over 8,000.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah. So anyways, um, the no-brainer part, going for your benefits is a no-brainer. But if and I actually I shouldn't say if I've had family members who needed help, and I want them to come to my firm for that help immediately
Right.
because, like I said, especially in the beginning, there's no cost if we win right off the bat. And if the VA does screw it up, at least it's set up for a good appeal down the pipeline. We don't have to fix a ton of things and make it even harder.
And if there's no cost right off the bat, if you're doing an initial claim, that means you're not getting paid for anything. You're doing it out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting paid money.
Yeah, yeah, you're
Exactly, right.
getting paid in warm
Yeah, I mean,
fuzzies
sometimes
and
we
good
get like
vibes and
people drop off cookies and stuff like that, and
yeah. Your
which I'll
favorite
take.
cookie is
My favorite cookie?
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh gosh, I love white chocolate macadamia cookies. Those are my
Okay.
jam.
So for those of you satisfied Tabak folks out there, make sure to bring your white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. So people have a variety of options when it comes to filing a claim. The no doubter should be file a claim. Doesn't matter who you are. You're like, just do it. If you feel like you have a no-brainer service-connected injury, a lot of people say like, well, I'll just submit myself using the app or whatever. And I'm sure Jim as well, would highly recommend against doing that. I know people that have done that with great success. I also know people who have done that and it's been an absolute disaster and it's cost them time and heartache and stress and money. VA has a very particular, specific language that only people who understand that world, that vernacular, that not vernacular dialect, are able to converse in and to get points across. And those people, your options are you can go to a VSO, and that would be VFW, American Legion, Disabled American Veterans. Those are your folks who can that's one of their functions. They have a lot of functions that they're trying to balance a lot of the times. But that's one of their functions is to help people file claims and appeals. I know people who have had success with that. I know people who have not had success with that.
Hey, Adam, I don't want to like I don't want anyone to think that I don't 100% support these VSOs
Oh, of
either.
course,
Like
yeah.
they're out there in the trenches, man. Like, and I know there are some really really great VSOs out there. There really are. I mean, I've seen
I'm
that too.
readjusting my height again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't want anyone to like think. I mean, we support them. We give money to them. We
Big
think
time.
they are wonderful resources, and so when I say that the VSOs, that I would recommend, a law firm before that. Um, I just know what I do, and I know that I think we do things that a lot of people don't do. Um,
Sure.
Not taking anything away from the VSOs and the great work they do.
What are some factors that people need to take into consideration when they're deciding which angle to go with? How am I going to file my initial claim? Because there are some bad actors out there, not the VSOs, but there are some folks, some firms or whatever who would uh, maybe not necessarily bad actors, but who don't have the same sort of the pure of heart paladin, on the unicorn, the horse charging in with a claymore. I'm really painting a dumb
Yeah,
analogy here, but
I see it in my head.
they don't have the pure intentions that maybe a VSO working or someone like we know you and how you operate. What are some things that can help people make the decision for what direction they need to go in?
I mean, the first thing I would ever ask if there's going to be someone helping is, are you accredited by the VA? You know, it's a very simple question. They should be able to say yes or no. Um, and the reason why that matters is the VSOs are accredited, which means that they have proper training, they're regulated, their work is looked after, they're, they've been vetted, by the VA, and attorneys and accredited reps also. There are groups that are out there, that aren't, and I'm not going to say whether they're good or bad because, I don't want to be sued or whatever.
Because you're a nice guy.
Yeah, but I would never personally use one that's not accredited because there's no guardrails. Like
No.
they might do a good job, but they might not. And if they don't, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to call the VA? The VA is going to say, well, we have no power over them because the only thing we could do is strip their accreditation. But oh,
Right.
guess what? They're not accredited.
And there's an increasing number of businesses out there that are not accredited, and a lot of them charge fees on the front end for the preparation of paperwork and claims, and you actually do the filing because they can't. Can you talk on that that kind of, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but just being, what are the red flags
Yeah.
if not accredited, and what are some other red flags that people need to avoid?
I mean, you know, again, I don't want to say whether that's right or wrong because um, there's people, and you'll see them all over the internet, who use these folks and are very satisfied, and they think they provided them a great service. And I actually have met some of the people that do that, and you know, I they at least put off a really good vibe that they care about vets. And I mean, there are definitely some out that are really bad actors that are just private equity funded and this and that, and you
Yeah.
know, but I just got to go back to the accreditation. Like, you have no recourse against these people if they do a bad job, and they're our fees are governed by the VA. If you think that I've charged you too much money, guess what? You can go to the VA and say, hey, VA, Tabak Law did this work and they've charged me this much money, and I don't think that's right. And the VA will say, okay, we're going to do an investigation and we'll give you what's called a reasonableness finding. And then they'll say, they'll come back to me and say, hey, you did this, you won this case. Please provide me all the work you did, and we have to provide them, hours that we've spent, all the notes that we've taken, all of the documents we may have reviewed, all the documents we gathered, if we paid for medical opinions, all this stuff, and we send it to them. And then the VA will review it and say, okay, you paid X dollars. We think the service they provided is worth Y dollars, so out of that fee they charge you, they get this much. And if you use these non-accredited people, like, because there's varying degrees of what you think they did wrong. Maybe they totally screwed up the case, right? Maybe they just blew the case, and now you're screwed, for lack of a better term. But maybe they didn't. Maybe they won the case, but they did one thing, and now you're owing tens of thousands of dollars, and you say, okay, well, I don't agree with that. Well, you're contractually obligated to that.
Right.
There's no one, like, they're not lawyers. They don't have ethical rules. They don't have, like, as a lawyer, I have not only the VA, I also have the state bar. And
Right.
the state bar also does fee disputes and reasonableness determinations. So, like, there's so many avenues, for someone who's not happy with what I've done to go out and tell someone. And there's people that I have to listen to that, look, we don't have it happen often, but I'm just saying, like, in an example, there's things that
There's checks and balances.
there is, yeah, like, and this isn't like it's not like a normal commercial transaction where you go to the store and you buy something and I give you the money and then I get the thing. I mean, this is like a service that many vets, their lives are depending on this.
Right.
And so anyways, it's just the accreditation thing. And it makes me wonder, why aren't these people just going and getting accredited? Like, we
Yeah.
make enough money doing it the way that we can. Why don't they just do it this way? I don't know. I don't get it. And I think it's because they just want to make more money than what is currently allowed under the law.
Got it.
Um, and you talk to them, they'll say this is capitalism, and which, okay, it is, but
It is.
also
Yeah.
there's rules and there's a way to do this that I I feel comfortable that the work I do is, it's right within the guidelines that have been given to me. And I am happy that the veterans can have the peace of mind knowing that there's recourse if I screw up,
Yeah.
because a screw up here can literally cost someone hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's just, if there's nothing that they can do about it, that's just wrong.
I think I need to have an impartial committee to determine reasonableness findings in my life, just like in random exchanges
Yeah.
with my family or people at work or whatever. I
Yeah.
need that
That'd be
impartial,
nice.
yep, that accountability takes it out of my hands.
That's called therapy, I think, right?
Yeah. Too much self-reflection.
Yeah.
Well, I either there are no comments or I'm having a hard time accessing them. Again, new to Riverside. And my desk is sinking on me. Oh boy.
I would guess there's just tons of comments and you're just not able to access them
Everybody's like, you're
because
sinking. Well, we're going to be doing this semi-frequently. Let's see if I can do this before my desk sinks all the way. I'll just bend my knees. We're going to be doing this semi-frequently. If you have questions that pop up while we're not doing this live, throw them out. I know there has been some recent significant changes that a lot of people are freaking out about.
Yeah, Adam, hey, I wanted to actually bring that up because
Yeah.
you had asked me about it and I was like, I really don't know how it's going to affect people, so I don't really want to get into
Oh yeah.
it.
Okay. I was kind of guarding you from having to dive into it today because it's so fresh. But hey, if you want to speak on it, let's do it because I think that's a lot of people have questions
Well,
about what you're
yeah,
saying.
and it's a very, it'll be a very quick conversation because the secretary of the VA, Doug Collins, I think. Is it? Yeah. Anyways, just sent an email that they're reversing course. They're not
Oh,
they're rescinding their interim rule.
that's
Um,
amazing. You
which,
heard it here first.
um, so yeah, which, we talked about it, and basically the rule was that they were going to take into account the medication that you take for your service-connected conditions, and rather than rate your conditions based on how bad they are, they're going to rate them based on how much better they get once you take your meds for it, which um, a lot of people were very scared that they're going to start looking back at
Yeah, and
all these
reducing
different
people's.
things and
Yeah,
reducing, and I didn't know how it was going to go because they were very unclear on what they were going to do with this rule.
yeah.
um, but everyone can kind of rest easy a little bit. And speaking of VSOs and thinking that they're great, the VSOs came out very, very, very
Oh,
heavily against this.
they
I
were
mean, they
dukes
were
up,
lighting
guns
them
a
up.
blazing, like
Oh
from
yeah,
the word go.
there was like some pitchforks and some
Mm.
fire. Maybe they were marching towards the VA headquarters, but they, you know, and God bless them, they got the clout to come out, and they got
Yep.
VA to reverse course. Not saying it won't happen again later, and once they explain themselves more, that's in a reason, that they can make it seem more reasonable. But which I
I
don't know
don't
how
know
to
how.
do.
I don't
But
know who benefits from what they were.
well,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But the good news is, at least for the time being, that we
For
don't have
now,
to.
it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Hmm.
is really good. That's good news. We can end on that
Yeah.
good note. Jim, stand by. I'll chat with you for a minute afterwards.
Okay.
Friends, so very happy to see you again and be doing this again. Keep an eye out. There's going to be a lot of new stuff under the newly established VetLine banner, powered by our friends at Tabak Law. Questions? Follow up. We'll address them in the next one or throw them on socials. But until next time, friends, take care.